giant monsters trampling through your city, and superheroes saving the day. In popular media, nuclear power is portrayed in many different forms. However, as we move into the 21st century, nuclear power can turn very quickly into the threat of nuclear terror. Nuclear terror is when one country has the urge and capability to fire nuclear weapons at someone else. As it happens, one of the challenges set for engineers in the 21st century happens to be preventing nuclear terror. So far, this has proved to be a rather difficult challenge because it envelops a large number of problems in itself. First, while there are many regulations, there is no true way to enforce them. Someone with nuclear power and ill intent can only be appeased and not opposed. The access to these materials, while regulated, still allows someone willful enough to acquire them. So the problem becomes, how do we identify who has nuclear material, and how do we prevent them from creating weapons?
In order to contextualize where this threat originated, we need to understand the history of nuclear capability. With the advent of the nuclear fission engine, radioactive materials become a coveted possession that can be used for clean burning energy. During the Second World War, America started a top secret agenda known as the Manhattan Project. The United States recruits scientists from dozens of countries to create a weapon to end the horrors of the war. The end result of the program is the creation of two payloads, Little Boy and Fat Man, which were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 1945. Not too long after the closure of World War II, tensions between the US and the USSR escalated. In an attempt to establish itself as a world power, the Soviet Union begins the refinement of nuclear material, which leads to an arms race known colloquially as the Cold War. Both countries developed large amounts of weapons of mass destruction in this era. War was and has been held off by the concept of mutually assured destruction. Though the Soviet Union collapsed long ago, others have risen up to take on the project of developing nuclear weapons to garner power.
Since this issue has been around for a while, some possible solutions have already been introduced. The Strategic Defense Initiative, or Star Wars, has been around for a while, but ultimately has been unsuccessful as an anti-ballistic program. The UN has developed teams to investigate whether or not some countries have been working on nuclear power. The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty exists. However, technology needs to be developed to enforce it. Approaching these issues from an engineering standpoint gives us several possible solutions which could be implemented.
The Strategic Defense Initiative could be improved with a computer program engineered to do more precise and accurate calculations in short spans of times in the case of nuclear weapon launch, so that an anti-ballistic missile could be launched in return in order to intercept the path of the weapon. However, it may not be enough to stop a threat that is already ongoing. Ways to eliminate potential threats ahead of time could be to engineer a filter to attach to a camera on a satellite or drone which would be able to detect radiation caused by purification of material to be used in a nuclear weapon. To aid in the detection of isotopes, a scanner could be engineered which focuses on radioactive material. The scanner would be placed in areas of high shipping traffic, including shipyards or ports. Additionally, an air sampler could be developed with enough specificity to detect trace amounts of potentially radioactive molecules. This device could be used at the aforementioned heavily trafficked areas as well as around entry and exit ways to mines and nuclear power plants. Hopefully, engineers in the 21st century can work to solve the problems of looming nuclear terror and prevent disaster.